The White House's response to anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles has sparked a tense feud between U.S. President Donald Trump and California Governor Gavin Newsom. Okay, this footage is just some of what downtown Los Angeles looked like this weekend. Demonstrations against immigration customs enforcement raids began on Friday. And the next day, on Saturday, an extraordinary move. The White House sent National Guard troops to the city to stop the protests. And Governor Newsom called the deployment unlawful and says the state is suing the Trump administration. Well, the CBC's Katie Simpson joins us now with the latest. Okay, so Katie, it's moving fast, like everything in Trump's America. Bring us up to speed on what's happening so far.
Yeah, basically, President Donald Trump is standing by his decision to send in the National Guard, despite the California governor not wanting that to happen, despite the point the mayor of Los Angeles didn't want that to happen. And now we are getting news from multiple U.S. agencies that about 700 U.S. Marines have been mobilized to move into the Los Angeles area. What we understand is that they will be supplementing the National Guard troops until additional National Guard troops can arrive. Here's the thing, though. Crowds have started to gather again this afternoon. Remember, it's 3 hours. We're in Eastern time right now as we're having this conversation, me in Washington, you in Ottawa. But it's 3 hours different time. It's early afternoon in Los Angeles right now. We are seeing some protesters starting to march in the street again. So far, it has been peaceful, but a lot of these protests have started out peaceful, and then they devolve into something, they deteriorate into something that is not peaceful. But so far today, what we've seen, everything, people are marching in the street, and we've not seen the same kind of destruction of property or attacks on police that we have seen over the past couple of days. But have a listen to U.S. President Donald Trump basically congratulating himself on sending in the National Guard to deal with days of unrest, a few days of unrest in Los Angeles.
If I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. It's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much.
So we need to sort of back things up here a bit. So on Friday, federal ICE agents, the immigration authorities, they went into different workplaces in and around the Los Angeles area, carrying out search warrants, raids. And when this happens in Los Angeles, it sparks backlash. People, there are networks, they contact one another, and protesters show up and protest. Authorities have accused them of trying to stop the ICE agents from carrying out their raids, from making arrests and taking people away in their big, large vans. We've seen videos of this taking place. And that those protests eventually turned into something violent. The first violent protest starting Friday night. More protests started, again, peacefully originally on Saturday and then devolved into more violent protests overnight. The way that local authorities describe it, it was about 100 people and there was violence and about 27 were arrested. But that same time, Saturday night, when some of those images of burning cars and destruction were coming out of California, that's when Donald Trump, announced that he would be sending in the National Guard. It is unusual for an American president to send in the National Guard if it hasn't been requested by a governor or other local authorities in terms of getting help. The last time it happened was in 1965, Lyndon B. Johnson sending in the National Guard to protect civil rights protesters. So it's led to this escalating back and forth. Trump administration officials saying that, if the governor got in the way or broke the law, that maybe he should be arrested. No one's above the law. That escalating into people asking Donald Trump whether he thinks Gavin Newsom should be arrested. Him saying, if the borders think so, then maybe he should. So it's sort of escalated in this really intense, very Trumpian way. It's very much of this moment. Right. In the United States that it's escalated like this. No, it's remarkable. The deployment of the National Guard for the first time, I think it was Selma is where it happened last, right? Or in the segregation period. And now the Marines being mobilized for domestic issues. So this is what Trump is doing. How is Gavin Newsom, how is the governor of California trying to push back against all of this? Well, he sort of dared the Trump administration to arrest him, saying he's tired of the border czar bloviating about all of these kinds of things. But the mayor of Los Angeles, also, who's a Democrat as well, also sort of brushing it off, saying, I've not broken the law. I'm not going to get in the way of the law. I'm focused on making sure the city stays safe. So the state government is pushing back. They've filed a lawsuit, filed the paperwork, trying to sue the Trump administration to rescind the order, get the National Guard out. Their big concern, they have stated, is that the arrival of the National Guard is making tensions worse. It's adding volatility to an already volatile situation. And they blame the Trump administration for bringing in those additional resources. They say that, prompted even more backlash and led to the violent displays that we saw yesterday. Everyone is condemning the violence. Democrats and Republicans are condemning violence. Democrats at the state level and at the local level in Los Angeles also, pleading with people, please do not engage in violent protests. And some Democrats are saying, listen, Donald Trump wants these violent images out on the news so he can have an excuse to go ahead and push ahead with more militarization. There was a state-level Democrat who was saying that on CNN the past couple of days in a row, saying, please do not go out there, please do not feed this agenda. And those are the kinds of accusations they're making. The Trump administration pointing to the video, saying this is violence, this is why we need to send in the National Guard. So far this afternoon, things, at least at this moment as we were having this conversation, have been peaceful. But again, everyone's watching.
Okay, Katie, a lot to keep your eye on. This is CBC's Katie Simpson in Washington, D.C.